A little bit behind the scenes. Getting ready to do an interview here at Never Summer, the original founder. And so it begins. Interview with the OG.
Board Insiders exclusive.
Well, it started in a garage. My brother and I were avid skiers when we were little kids. And a friend of mine's older brother took us snowboarding to Berthoud Pass back in late 1982. And the first time I did it, I was hooked. Because when we were kids growing up in Colorado, we'd go visit our relatives out in California, and we'd go to the beach. And obviously, you know, when you're a little kid and you see surfers, you're like, man, I want to do that someday. Well, living in Colorado, I guess the next best thing is to surf snow. And so the snowboards at that time, you know, you had Burton and Sims and Barfoot and a couple of other brands, and most of the snowboards back in the early 80s looked like surfboards. And you were basically going to the backcountry, whether it was Berthoud Pass or Loveland Pass. And so we went up to Loveland Pass back in late 82, and then Berthoud Pass that same day. I'm talking about the first day I ever snowboarded. And I was just hooked. You know, being a skier, going to the backcountry, and I was never, when I was a kid, I wasn't that good of a backcountry skier. I was more into just going fast. And, but being able to go in you know, the trees and in deep powder with a snowboard, there's no other feeling. And so we were hooked. And the snowboards were pretty simple back then. You know, basically horizontal lamb plywood. And my brother and I were pretty good, you know, building forts when we were kids. So we're like, hey man, we can build some snowboards. So we started building snowboards, and we started a company with a friend, Scott Rolfs, and it was called Swift Snowboards. And we did that from 1983 to 1986. Did that for 3 years, realized that I'm not gonna make a lot of money with you know, snowboards without you know, being so young, not having a college education. I'm like, man, I got to go to college. So I went to CSU. My brother went to CSU. We ended up moving out to California in the mid to late 80s. And he lived up in Huntington Beach. I lived in San Diego. We enjoyed surfing, but we missed snowboarding. So we started to go snowboarding in the late 80s up at Snow Summit in Big Bear, and fell in love with snowboarding again, and wanted to go to Colorado because, you know, better snow. And so came back home in 1989, or 1990, sorry, and started Never Summer in 1991. We met this guy, Steve Link, who is the stunt double for Tom Sims in the movie View to a Kill. You remember that James Bond movie? Okay.
Absolutely. That's what brought snowboarding to the world.
So Steve Link had a company called Summit Snowboards up in Summit County. And he had a small little factory there, and we got to know Steve, and we said, hey, listen, can we help you out with rent and build some snowboards like we used to back in the early 80s, using some of your equipment. He had an old hydraulic press, and he said sure. So we started building prototypes, and we developed this P-Tech sidewall that went around the perimeter of the snowboard, and it added another level of protection. And at that time, snowboards, you know, the sidewalls were just getting abused, and there was a lot of cracking going on because companies were using ABS plastic. And this P-Tech really made the snowboard strong and more durable. And so we felt that that was something unique that we could start with. And we wanted to pride ourselves on building the strongest snowboards in the industry. And so we came up with a 2-year warranty, and everybody else at that time pretty much had a 1-year warranty. And so we shared that factory with Steve Link for a couple years, and then we came down to Denver in 1993. The old factory, we were there for 17 years, and we just moved into this factory about 3 years ago. And it's helped a ton. I mean, it's bigger, it's cleaner, there's more light, it's warmer for the guys, better environment. We were able to lay it up, lay out the production flow to make it more efficient. And so it's helped all the way around. I mean, we've got close to 70 employees, and of the 70, we have about 20 guys that have been here for more than 10 years. So they love what they do, and this factory is just a next step in making it, a nice environment for everybody. And we consider our employees our family, and we just want to make sure that everybody is happy, and we're just trying to provide a good environment so we can continue to make great snowboards. I look at it as we want to have ultimate control of the quality, okay, and when we can ship things. And so for us to do our best to satisfy our customers, whether it be the end consumer or the retailers, we want to make sure that we're giving them a quality product that we oversee 100%. But then when we say we're going to ship these snowboards, that we're able to do it on time with our schedule. So we control all facets of the production and the timing of the production, and that's super important. So yeah, I'm proud that they're made here in our factory, but it goes beyond just made in the United States. It's the fact that this is a family here. We get to know our employees, and we get to know everything about the production, so we can guarantee a great product shipped on time. Back in 2006, 2007, you saw Mervin and K2 having some success with rocker snowboards that were around a long time ago. When we first started building Swift snowboards back in the early 80s, most snowboards had a little bit of rocker back then because they were so stiff. So that was how you were able to keep them, floating. Most of the snowboarding was done in the backcountry in the early 80s. So Mervin and K2 brought that technology back, and they were having huge success with that. And consumers loved it, retailers loved those shapes. The skate banana was incredibly popular. But what we heard from our customers is, man, this is awesome. I wish it was a little bit more stable at speed. And so we decided to come up with something that would blend the fun of rocker with performance of camber. And that's how we came about with the original rocker camber profile that we patented in 2008. Early 2008, late 2007, when we were doing rocker camber snowboard prototyping, we were able to take concepts and 2 days later make a mold out of MDF wood, go up to the hill, make sure that it was what we wanted, or make minor tweaks, and so that helps a ton. I mean, Loveland is 45, 50 minutes away from here. So we're able to take ideas, get them up on the snow, bring it back down, tweak it, get it back up on the snow. So we're always testing out new profiles, new shapes. The Ripsaw profile is just, I guess, the next chapter in that rocker camber profile. Basically enhancing the camber areas, making them bigger, and so you can load the board up a little bit more, but still have that playful feel of the rocker in between your feet. So now we have the original rocker camber and the Ripsaw profile, which are the same shapes, just one has more camber area. So if you want something more edgy and precise, you choose the models that have the Ripsaw profile, and if you want something more surfy and playful, you choose the original rocker camber profile.
What's are you guys working on anything else out there?
Yeah.
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 Is there anything you can tell us about?
I'm sorry.
Saved by the phone.
Yeah. That's funny. I can tell you that it's a variation of the Ripsaw profile, and we want to continue having the Ripsaw profile in the lineup without question. But we have some ideas to take that design even further. Yeah, so that's about as much as I want to tell you right now. Well, obviously there's a push to experiment with new shapes, and powder snowboarding is incredible. So a shape specific to powder is logical to have in your lineup. And what we found was people love the Swift and powder, but they also love it on hardpack as well. So it's a great versatile shape, and it's a tribute to you know, our roots, and you know, I think everybody can agree that if you can snowboard, you know, powder, that's probably the best form of snowboarding, and so we want to definitely have something that's dedicated to powder and making sure that you got a high performance board in that condition. Yeah, back when we started Never Summer, they were even more damp, and it was great because they rode like Cadillacs, but they weren't as snappy, and they were heavier back then. And so we've trimmed out some of the unnecessary dampness, and they're still damp. And we think that that's a good thing, because you can ride them fast, you can ride them through variable conditions, and you can stay in control, and it's just a smoother ride. But we've added some snap to the boards over the years. They're much lighter than they used to be. And the rubber that you put in the boards also makes the boards more durable. It helps the bonding between all of the different materials. So we've got a lot of rubber in the boards. It's what makes them nice and smooth, and what makes the Never Summer super durable as well. Pre-tension fiberglass is super important as well. Our material cost is probably 50% more than our competitors. Now you notice Never Summer doesn't have a high-profile team. And it's not because we don't want to have a high-profile team, it's because we can't afford it, because we spend so much money in the materials that go into the snowboards. So it's, we rely on word-of-mouth advertising, and just you know, building a reputation of quality for 25 years. So it's taken a long time to get where we are, but we feel it's you know, the best path for us. And we've got a great team of riders that help us develop our snowboards, and materials that go into the snowboards, the shapes, profiles. We're proud of those guys, but that's not our center focus. The focus is the product itself, the snowboard. We've had a few people over the last couple of years say, man, I really wish Never Summer would bring back Camber to our lineup. And the reason why we don't do that is because we feel we've come up with a profile that is the most versatile. It can hold an edge well at speed, and it can be playful. And we want to keep our lineup simple, okay? We're the company that developed rocker camber, and we're going to further develop that technology because we feel it is a combination of fun and performance. And obviously snowboarding is about having fun, and most people that go out and buy a snowboard, they're wanting to get a snowboard that can be real good in all conditions. And we feel that our profile is the best for that. And so we're going to further develop that, but we don't want to go backwards in technology. We have some awesome ideas going forward that are going to be centered around hybrid profiles. Because it just gives you the most versatility and the most fun. So we build snowboards. Now we build longboards as well, and we build skis for other companies, and we build snowboards for a couple companies. We're not small, but we want to be a niche brand. It's like comparing a craft beer to like Budweiser. Yeah. You know, we know our, you know, place in the market. Well, I think it has more to do with, now Colorado is different. Colorado has the most dynamic economy in the country. I mean, it's booming. But there's a lot of places in the United States and even worldwide where the economy is pretty stagnant. So if people, you know, feel that their disposable income is about what it used to be and it's not growing, then they're not going to buy more fun stuff in general. And then if the snow conditions aren't great, like you guys had for 2 years, and you know, Europe had a couple years ago, I think that has more to do with, you know, the perceived notion that snowboarding is, you know, declining. I feel it's plateaued for sure, but I think once the economy gets stronger, and once certain areas, like you guys didn't have snow last year, now you have snow. The East Coast had snow last year. They didn't have snow up until about, what, a month ago? But they had a horrible early year. So I'm not worried about snowboarding at all as a sport. Now, you know, skiing is obviously popular, and it's gained some momentum over the years because of, I think, influence from snowboarding too, experimenting with different profiles, different shapes. I think that's really helped skiing as well. So you see a lot of younger kids that ski too. Let's be honest, the first day on a snowboard for somebody, especially a skier, is pretty tough, right? They think, you know, because snowboarders make snowboarding look easy, but then you get somebody that has a tough day that first day. Do they come back? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You know, I think learning how to ski is easier. I've got 3 young kids, and 2 of them ski, and my oldest snowboards. But it's easier for a kid who's 5 or 7 years old to learn how to ski than to snowboard in the beginning. I like the fact that you've got skiers and snowboarders. But I like the fact that you know, I don't think snowboarding's for everybody. I think it's kind of cool that it's got its own niche as well. I think it'd be pretty boring if you went up to the mountains and everybody snowboarded. I really think that I would do it the same way. I mean, my brother and I are very frugal, and we started 25 years ago. We never had this big infusion of capital to go from point A to point B. It was always just this very slow, steady growth, and it was because, you know, we didn't have the money. And so we had to grow this thing, buying tools, you know, and buying pieces of equipment as we could. And so now we own everything in this factory, and you know, we don't have debt. So we've run it real clean, and so we've built up this brand, and it's taken a long time, but I think it's grown us into, you know, better, you know, producers, better business people by not having to grow it so quickly because we've got shareholders looking over our shoulders. You know, this is a family-run business. And so, sure, we would tweak some things, I guess, but I really am happy with the way we did it, because now we can look back and we can be real proud that, you know, this is our thing, and we control the quality, and we can control, you know, all the parts to the business, and that's made a big difference, I think.
But
it sounds cliche, but I just want to continue to do what we're doing, grow a little bit at a time, and really be the best partner we can be with specialty shops worldwide. They need help from companies like us. They need the protection. The specialty shop is the best resource to sell high-performance snow equipment, for sure. They're the most knowledgeable, and we want to be the #1 partner with these specialty shops because they help us the most.
So we just got done with our factory tour. I just figured before we leave that I would kind of give you just a little 360-degree view of the factory from kind of the center of where things are going down. So let us get to the middle of the factory here, and we will show you guys what's up.
Subscribe, and subscribe. Seriously, right now. What are you waiting for?